Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 151 of the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I'm co-host Junior, as usual, accompanied by co-host Nick and producer Vince. The NHL trade deadline has come and gone, and the trade deadline will come and gone. Has come and gone and been was quite boring but entertaining and wild at the same time. So we're going to recap all of that today. But before we do that, I want to remind you all to follow us on our social medias, X, TikTok, Instagram at Partial Break Pod. Like and subscribe on YouTube and follow along on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any podcast platform out there. Guys, before I hand it over to Nick to add some extra stuff here on the intro, Did you pay attention to that Buffalo-Tampa game tonight?
I was prepping for a podcast.
Yeah. It was 3-0 Buffalo. Then it was 4-1 Buffalo. Then 6-4 Tampa. Then 7-5 Tampa. And then Buffalo won 8-7.
Jeez.
Absolutely wild stuff. Hagel and Dahlin almost fought. It was wild.
Not as wild as... Well, I mean... Not as wild, but the Montreal Canadiens game against LA was back and forth like that as well, right?
Well, their whole trip was back and forth, the West Coast.
Yeah, basically, we forgot how to defend.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a common theme, though, down the stretch.
We also don't have a goalie that can make a proper save in the proper time. I think that's going to be Montreal's biggest issue.
Well, maybe that was addressed in the trade deadline. We'll go over.
Maybe. Nick, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, well, look, one thing for sure, 66% of our viewers are not following us on YouTube. So if you do watch our podcast on YouTube, please hit that follow button. It really helps us get our numbers up, helps the algorithm. Feel free to comment on everything we talk about, because the whole point of this podcast is for us to have discussions and enjoy fantasy hockey together and have a big community. So that's what we're hoping for. So if you guys want to jump in and tell us we're idiots, or tell us we're good, or tell us anything at all regarding some of the trades, your opinions, that might be really helpful for us, and we would appreciate it. I'm also going to mention that this is a very, very stressful time if you're a general manager. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't get paid millions of dollars, and I play this silly little game called fantasy hockey, which is done on a computer with friends. And I'm trading away McKinnon in one of my leagues because I want to do a rebuild, and he's like my last star on my team. And I'm getting heart palpitations. I'm thinking about it in the middle of the night. I'm waking up thinking about it. Well, what if listener Bats does this, and what if listener Joe does that, and what if my co-host does this, and what if I get stabbed in the back by my brother-in-law? All these things.
It is what it is, my friend.
Culminate into a very stressful time of the year. I could just imagine what it's like to actually be in these war rooms with these actual NHL teams, where real money's on the table, where millions of dollars and human beings are being traded like fodder back and forth. It's absolutely insane to me. It's a fun time of the year, but I could understand why it's stressful.
I have a question for you guys. My ultimate goal one day is to be able to have a fantasy league of 32 teams and dress a full NHL lineup, like a full NHL structure fantasy league. How realistic do you think that is?
It's very unrealistic, because people won't be interested in fourth liners.
How many fourth liners?
Yeah, exactly. Your
that's pro scouting.
Yeah, but we barely have time to keep up with the leagues that we're in. You want to do a full in? You're nuts.
The Llama League is 50 contracts, right? You start 23, right, on your regular roster. You have 50 total contracts that are NHL contracts, and then you have up to 90 with prospects and rights and reserves, right? So that's a 90-person pool times 11 teams that are already there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 990 players we're already dealing with. You want to add more? Like I
Oh
don't
yeah, oh
understand.
yeah, full pin.
I don't know, man. You kind of lose the luster after a while.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. Okay, so enough talk, and let's get into some of the trades that happened at trade deadline.
Or that didn't happen.
Odd Man Rush.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the Odd Man Rush, brought to you by Sportira, where we take notes and trends of NHL and turn them into 30-second takes, which will usually last 3 minutes. Once again, today will probably last even more because we're talking about some trades that happen at trade deadline. This segment is sponsored by Sportira. You can visit the website at www.sportira.com for all your apparel, team uniform needs. Follow them on Instagram as well at sportira.apparel. So before we talk about the trades that did happen, like Junior said, let's talk about two players that were on the top 10 board but never got traded. So
Blake
what can
Coleman.
you? Yeah, Blake Coleman, exactly. What
White
can you
Claw.
guys tell me? Yeah, what can you guys tell me about Robert Thomas and Periaco? Periaco basically had a trade to Buffalo, and the story is that if he had a little bit more time to think about it, he might have gone, but it was just too hasty, so he declined and he used the power that he had in his no move clause and didn't move, which players are fully allowed to do, and any player that gets grief for that, I think, is just not right because GMs St. Louis blew the trade anyways by announcing what the trade was before even contacting Periaco to see if they could get a bigger sell. So to me, he uses no trade clause. So Nick, I'm gonna start with you. Tell me about Robert Thomas. Was it seen that this is a trade that usually will be done at trade at draft day instead of trade deadline? And tell me about Periaco and the trade to Buffalo that could have been.
Well, Pareko had a trade to Buffalo, and like you said, he had a no trade clause, and he basically vetoed the trade. And you're right that he did negotiate that as part of his contract with St. Louis. And most of the time, players take less money in in order to add that clause
Mm,
onto their contract, so that they can have some power of where they go and where their family gets relocated to. Unfortunately for Buffalo, because Buffalo was looking really good in that trade, I think that Pareko would have really added a huge element to their team. Um, they still did a couple of things that we're going to get into, but Pareko would have been a big add for Buffalo, and good for Buffalo for even going after it, right? Because
mm,
they located something. They're finally playing really good hockey. They look like they're making the playoffs, and they want to go all in. So I was really happy for Buffalo in that standpoint. Robert Thomas, excellent player. I think one of the great centers of the league. He runs into some injury trouble. He's only played, I think, one full season in his career, but the time that he does play, he's usually point per game. So I believe that Pareko is a great player. I think Robert Thomas would have even been a bigger ad for any team that would have gotten him. But St. Louis was very, very right. They stuck to their guns. They said,
mm.
"This is my offer. You can't just microwave some chili pops and send them over to me." Because I hear a microwave there in the background somewhere.
Yeah, well, guys, once again, Tanya needs to make her presence felt on our podcast. So I don't know what she's done. Maybe popcorn. She might be
Oh, nice. Are
microwaving.
you
I
Ah,
are
think.
you gonna get
nice, nice
some?
romantic night with
No,
the wife
Ah,
tonight.
no.
Netflix
Ooh.
and Netflix and
Netflix and
chill
chill.
night.
No, definitely. She's just warming up water apparently. So
Oh, so it's
That's
audiobook and sleep
yeah,
night then.
yeah. E-
audiobook and sleep night.
even though we have a kettle that warms up water,
Without beeping, right?
yeah, she thought, and she's still in the microwave. Like it's amazing. Oh, this is
Back to Robert
amazing.
Thomas, guys.
Her,
Robert,
Yeah,
back to
her,
go
Robert
ahead.
her brain
Thomas.
is fried with
Uh,
Zepuri oil.
Yeah.
Love the player. Love the player. I actually was really hoping to get him in a trade as part of a package for McKinnon. Um, and great player to have. Injuries do scare me a little bit, but let's call a spade here. I still think he's a point per game player.
Okay, Junior, when you before you get into your thing, with all this going on, is there even a way to uh, mesh Robert Thomas with
Mend.
No, mesh. I mean, like the relationship with St. Louis and Robert Thomas seems to be broken right now because of
Yeah,
everything.
it's
Mend is
inevitable.
the right word.
So at the end of the day, could it be put back together, or is this just a trade waiting to happen in the
No,
future?
I think it's a trade waiting to happen. Before I get into it, I just want to say like the insiders need to chill out. Like if you don't have something for sure official, you can't be letting shit like that out. Like it's people's families, people like the first rumor that came out was Robert Thomas and Pareko for like Josh Norris, Owen Power, and somebody else. Imagine that. And then after it was a first and Murtka for Pareko, which was being said it's in the final stages, or all this stupid lingo these insiders have. Anyways,
Dude, on that thing, the problem is in today's day, it's in
want to be
today's
first
day,
and not right.
yeah, exactly. It's I'd rather be first than and take the chance of not being right.
But
But that's what actually works nowadays.
Yeah,
Armstrong, the
People
GM of
care
St.
less
Louis,
about being truthful or right. They care
yeah,
more about
exactly.
being first.
I don't want to give him more attention than he deserves, but there's a hockey insider there on X. He's a clown. He's nothing, but he's got thousands and thousands of followers because people just want to hear what they just want to see what they think, right? If they're a Habs fan, they want to see that Montreal's about to get Kadri. They don't care who's saying it, just someone saying it. Anyways, whatever.
I think he actually tweeted that Montreal got Kadri.
Yeah,
And then he
'cause-
changed the Montreal hashtag for Colorado right at the end.
because he heard that the Canadians circled back, and then so he's like, I got a 50-50 chance here. Let me say that they got traded and I'll be first. But anyways, or she, who knows? Yeah, sorry, I got carried away there. But Robert Thomas, it's inevitable. He's going to get traded. It's going to be an off-season move. And I think they did good to wait because there'll be probably more candidates. They probably get an even bigger return problem. So I think Cairo 2's time is done there. I think they're both going to be shipped out by draft day. And yeah, I really like what Buffalo did. Like we said in the chat when the Pareko rumor came out, they already had the best defense in the league. That would have really put them like hard to play against, like contenders.
So talking about Buffalo, so this is the first. This is the trade that went down with Buffalo. Buffalo acquired Logan Stanley and Luke Shen from the Winnipeg Jets for forward Isaac Rosen, defenseman Jacob Bryson, a second-round pick in 2027, and a conditional fourth-round pick in 2026. Now, fantasy-wise, like I think we all can agree, Logan Stanley and Luke Shen are not fantasy relevant ever. But Isaac Rosen, the one they give away, how can he be fantasy relevant with Winnipeg, seeing that Winnipeg is looking for young players to step up? Junior?
Yeah, I mean he's probably going to get more of an opportunity there than he would have with Buffalo because they're so stacked with young guys. I think he might be one of those like late bloomers. No one's really talking about him, but he has the opportunity or the potential to be one of the guys that breaks out a little later. That's
He
less
was
known,
drafted.
but breaks out a little later.
Yeah. He was drafted 14th overall. He's 22. He's 6'6", weighs 185 pounds. In 2021, he was drafted 14th overall.
Yeah, in the
never-
AHL, he's got 43 points in 37 games.
Exactly. So never got a shot in the NHL, but in the AHL in 2022-2023, 37 points in 66 games as a rookie. The year after that, 50 points in 67, then 55 points in 61, and now he had 43 points in 37. So there is an improvement in the AHL for this
Yeah,
player.
he's got
So
a nice progression year after year. He's getting better and
Yeah.
better. I'm
So,
curious
Nick-
to see what it looks like in the NHL.
So with St. Louis, with Winnipeg. Do you see him get an opportunity in that top six?
Um, I don't think that he's going to necessarily be a top six player, probably a middle six player. Could be productive. 5'10", born. He's 23 years old already. According to Hockey Prospecting, he has a 0% chance of being a star.
Mm-hmm.
That's lower than 1% chance of being a star. But they also didn't trade for star players, right? Like this is a
Mm-hmm.
prospect that we're talking about. Could be an NHLer, could be a middle sixer, bottom sixer, even maybe. Same with Jacob Brisson. Jacob Brisson has a 4% chance of being a star. He's even older. He's 28 years old, so he's aged out of the model a long time ago. But hockey prospecting is not high on either of these players. Bottom, like a number seven defenseman, maybe, and a prospect that might be a middle six, bottom six prospect. Um, One thing I'll say is that so there's for me there's no hockey relevance here. There's no fantasy relevance here with any of these two prospects. Um, he was drafted really high, and sometimes that carries some weight. But it was the COVID year, so there wasn't a lot of info to go by, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were already there was a lot of let's say mistakes that happened during the COVID year because the analytics weren't as much, the games were not there. So I mean, you can't fault Buffalo for that.
Okay, so let's switch off to another team in the East who's fighting for a playoff spot as well. The New York Islanders, uh, I think got some really good depth with this trade. So New York Islanders acquired Braden Shen from the St. Louis Blues for a first round pick and a third round pick in 2026. Forward Jonathan Drouin and goalie Marcus Gildoff. Nick, I'm gonna start with you. Obviously, Drouin, I think, is just a cap dump. So, how do you look at this trade when it comes to the Islanders? And do you think the Blues got a good return for Braden Shen? Something they couldn't get last year.
Yeah, so Braden Chen, I mean, is a good player. I think the problem with Chen is that he's a little bit older to the point where he can't really keep up anymore with the play to be a top sixer necessarily, but he has a lot of intangibles, a lot of leadership qualities, a lot of it could still be kind of productive, but you're not really talking about somebody that's a world beater. So for me, to give up a first round pick, I know they have some prospects, but that cupboard could really use a lot more prospects, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So to give up a first round pick kind of stings. And I know that Marcus Gidloff is a goalie that, you have Sorokin, so you don't really need prospect goalies. You kind of need some prospect goalies, right, coming up the
Yeah.
pipeline. I still think this is a lot to give up for an aging veteran. I get it that it's for a playoff push or a playoff run, but I don't like the trade on the Islanders side.
Okay.
Are,
Joe?
are, are they really a Braden Shen away from being a contender for the cup? I get it. You have him for one more year, so there's term on his contract. But like, I don't know. Like, if you would have told me they were going after Robert Thomas, or actually those rumors they were going after Jordan Cairo, like I can understand something like that. That's what they need. They need youth, offensive scoring potential. Because right now, I mean, you already went to get Palat. The latter days of his career are around the corner. Now you went to go get Shen. You have Lead who's about to retire. Like Holmstrom is, you play him up and down your lineup. You got Heineman who's playing with Horvat and Barzal. Like you're still missing that key clutch goal scorer, youth like young goal scorer. And I find the assets they spent on Shen could have been served elsewhere, maybe in the offseason.
Like
The
we're talking
one,
about a 45 to 50 point pace guy, right?
yeah, yeah. Like fantasy wise, I don't think. But the problem is not the problem. The thing is, this year in the East is wide open. I mean, Florida is not making it. Toronto's not making it. Rangers are not making it. Washington's not making it. I mean, the one solid team that makes it constantly is Tampa Bay right now. Everyone else, it's almost teams that haven't made it in 10 years. Buffalo hasn't made it in the longest time in the playoffs. Detroit hasn't made it in the longest time. Montreal made it last year, and before that was
A
what
long time.
long time. Like Pittsburgh, are they for real? Carolina is Carolina. I mean, Carolina and Tampa Bay are the teams there, but I guess the Islanders saw. Listen, we have an opportunity to try to get in a weaker playoff situation than usual. Why not take that chance? So, but like Nick, I find first round picks are. Listen, it's not as bad as giving up a first round pick for Lawton, but we'll get there when we get there. I think Toronto fans have suffered enough this trade deadline. All
No,
right.
but you touched on a very important point. Because it's wide open, don't you think a team like whoever was involved with Robert Thomas just overpay? Like now's the time to overpay. You have a chance to make a deep run because other than Tampa and Carolina, it's anybody's game.
Yeah, but we don't know what the price was. If you're overpaying
Right.
by taking if you're overpaying by taking two players that are in your lineup,
Yeah,
then
no, that's it.
you understand. So like that's the situation. So we'll see. Next, the Detroit Red Wings, who were in a lot of players that were on that list, finally settled for Justin Falk from the St. Louis Blues, who got again a first round pick, a third round pick in the 2026 NHL draft, just defenseman Justin Holl, and unsigned forward prospect Dmitry Buchlinkov. So now this is St. Louis second first round pick in 2026 and second third round pick in 2026 that they got into a trade. Now, Junior, Justin Falk, like he's I know it's very weird to say, but he is fantasy relevant. If you're dressing 4 to 6 defensemen, I think he's in the top 25 in points for defensemen in fantasy. So does he suffer now that he's going to Detroit? Does that suffer?
Yeah. Yeah, because he was the go-to guy in St. Louis. He was getting almost 46% of the power play time, so he was on and off power play 1. He was logging 22 minutes a game. Now he's going to Detroit, where he's likely going to be second pair. They have Maurice Sider, who's on power play 1. He's definitely not going to take Sider's spot. And if Sider is not working out, they have Sandin Pelika that's there. They have Edvinson that's there. He might get a shot on power play 2, but again, that power play 2 looks like Andrew Kopp, Casper, Nygaard. I mean, they're not going to get much time, let's be honest. So yeah, if you had Justin Falk and he was with St. Louis, he was relevant, but making his way to Detroit, a little lower in the depth chart, unfortunately won't be as productive fantasy-wise. But I think it's a great pickup for Detroit. It really solidifies their back end.
Nick, anything to add?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I feel like he's going to a better team. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
understand he's not going to have as many opportunities, but sometimes just going to a better team is a big plus, right? And yeah, he's not Moritz Sider necessarily, but he can push down Sandin Pelika in the lineup
Oh,
and really,
he's definitely
I
gonna
think
push
he
down. They
has.
they
yeah,
said that they got him so that Sandin Pelika has less pressure on him.
that's what I
Uh,
mean, right? So if he takes on secondary puck moving, secondary power play, he could still be pretty productive on that team because they do have more scoring than St. Louis does, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
just as depends how many minutes he's going to play, obviously, but we'll see. I think whatever fantasy relevance he had in St. Louis, I think he keeps it here pretty much, which is still
Okay.
lower in the totem pole for fantasy defensemen,
Mm-hmm.
but still serviceable, let's say,
Okay.
They played New
in
Jersey
deep
Devils
leagues.
tonight, and they won 3-0. Sandin Pelika was not on the roster.
No.
Oh, there you go.
They they won 3-0. Was
Can
Gibson
you
in
tell me
it?
what how many
Gibson
minutes
shutout.
how
Gibson
many
shot. Oh,
how many minutes did Falk play? Because I think that's going to be telling.
Hold on. So it looks like Gibson played 2 periods and Talbot played 1 period. So I don't know if Gibson got hurt. We'll have to look
probably.
into that. Nick, what was your question?
How many minutes did Falk play?
Justin Falk, how many minutes did he play?
Justin Falk played. Sorry about that. Over here. Box score. Okay, so Justin Falk played 19 minutes and a half.
Okay, it's not bad.
So he's about three minutes
Number
less
4
than what.
defenseman
Yeah,
type
exactly.
minutes.
He was actually second most utilized on the team after Edvinson.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
No,
so
third, because I didn't see Sider play 25 minutes.
that's it. So second pair minutes basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty relevant. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. Before we move on, Vince. Before we move on, Dmitry Bukletnikov.
Buklinkov. Mm-hmm.
Wow, did you just say it
Did you
right
just
and
say
Nick
a
got it
name?
wrong?
That's
Before
right.
you were saying Pareko like he was from
Alright.
planet
Yeah, exactly.
from another planet, but you got this one good. So, anyways, that guy can be a little bit fantasy relevant. So just keep an eye out on him. If like a speculative ad in really, really, really deep pools, he's an unsigned forward, but he plays in the KHL. He's actually a pretty decent player if he signs in North America. So just wanted to mention that.
Okay. And sticking with Detroit, they also got Perron back for a fourth. I mean, Perron signed with Ottawa. He struggled. He couldn't find his niche. He had a few good years in Detroit. I mean, this is just a depth move, right? I mean, he's not breaking the top six on that team right now.
No, agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, not much
So-
to add there. Just nice to see him go back to Detroit.
Yeah. This one, Pittsburgh Penguins acquire the giant Elmer Soderblom from the Detroit Red Wings for a third round pick in 2026. Now, Soderblom, if I'm not mistaken, is like 6'9".
He's 6'8".
6'8". He was drafted in the sixth round. His numbers in the HL weren't bad last year. 17 points in 38 games. This year with Detroit, he got 39 games, 3 goals. Pittsburgh picked him up. Do you think he can have a bit of a resurgence in his career, just like Chinnikov did with Pittsburgh, or is this just like Nick would say, it's a dart throw and hoping that something clicks in Pittsburgh? Nick?
Well, I think it's a dart throw for sure. They didn't really acquire much. It was a third round pick. So it's not like anybody's breaking the bank necessarily for this player. According to Hockey Prospecting, he's a 0% chance of being a star as well. So again, I mean, but you do need bottom 4, bottom 6 players, right? Like we talk mostly fantasy hockey here. We don't really talk real hockey, but in real hockey, I could see where he has some value. But no star probability to me means probably not fantasy relevant.
They played today. They beat the Bruins 5-4 in overtime. He logged 10 minutes, 21 seconds. He was a -2, managed 3 shots on goal. He was on the line with
minus 3 shots?
No,
How do you
he
do
got
minus 3 shots?
No, it was -2 and managed 3 shots on goal.
managed.
Oh, okay.
That would have been funny.
He was on the line with
He shot it on his
Kindle.
own net.
He was on a line with Kindle and the other rookie, Avery Hayes.
Okay.
So, but again, like you said, dart throw. I don't think it's going to be. I own him. I was hoping for a little boost, but I don't think so.
Get him off Kindle's line. He's ruining Kindle.
All right. So next thing we're going to talk about is Colorado. They made a few moves, obviously a big
What
move. So,
about what?
so first they acquired defenseman Nick Blankberg from Nashville Predators for a fifth round pick in 2027. Then they went to pick up Nicolas Roy from the Maple Leafs for a conditional first round pick in 2027 and a conditional fifth round pick in 2026. And then the biggest move that they made was reacquiring Nazem Kadri for a fourth round pick in 2027 from the Calgary. Kadri and a fourth round pick in 2027. And Calgary gets a conditional first in 2028, a conditional second round pick in 2027, forward Victor Olofsson, and unsigned forward prospect Maximilian Coran. I feel Colorado has a GM like listener Bamia. They're just giving out the first round picks for the next 10 years. So Nick, I mean, the Nicolas Roy is more. We all know it's more of a dead boom. But what can you tell me about Kadri and Blankenberg?
Well, I'll tell you, Blackenberg is one of the guys that I really like. I actually heard about him first in the Keeping Carlson podcast, fellow THPN podcast, by the way. And Blackenberg was basically somebody that's like a seventh defenseman, but when he comes on, he usually gets second power play. He's like a good offensive player, but he's 5'9". So he doesn't log a lot of minutes, and like his average time on ice is usually not super high. But in this particular case, this year he had 17 minutes of time on ice average, almost 18 minutes, pacing for 35 points. That's fantasy relevant in some leagues, but mostly just a spot start here and there if you have a waiver wire leagues, right?
Hmm.
Um, as far as Nicolas Roy, I mean, Nicolas Roy is somebody that, he's a third liner. If your league has face-offs, great. I can't see much else from Nicolas Roy. The big get here is obviously Kadri.
So are you trading? Is it Kadri? Do you trade
You kind of
Kadri
pulled a
when?
lot of these together, so it's really hard to talk about all these
Yeah, yeah,
guys
yeah, that's
at
it.
the same
No,
time.
but it's because I want to concentrate mostly on Kadri because I find he is the biggest one, the most relevant one.
Yeah,
Because the thing with Kadri is whoever owned Kadri in fantasy was gonna have a very hard time to trade him because he was playing in Calgary. Him going to Colorado and knowing that he still has another 4 years, does it facilitate now fantasy GMs on trading Kadri, and does the price change?
Absolutely, it should. It should. I mean, the last time he played with Colorado, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, 2021, 2022,
Hmm.
he paced for 100 points. And he's only 1 year removed, or not even a full year removed, from a 35 goal season with the Calgary Flames. Last year, he had 35 goals on that team. The year before that, 29. The year before that, 24. And he played 82 games, 82 games, 82 games. So, I mean, he was still fantasy relevant. This year, his play took a bit of a dip. And now, we all know he was a bit unhappy there and stuff. But he didn't start the game with McKinnon. The second they put him with McKinnon, they scored a goal. Now, Landeskog is out. Lehkonen is out. He's going to get all the opportunities in the world, and he's going to get number one power play. So if you have Kadri and you're not contending, you could probably get a ransom at this deadline if your trade deadline hasn't passed yet.
yeah. I think you have to be very careful. What Junior said is very important. Um, it depends on his deployment because they have a lot of mouths to feed over in Colorado. So if he's playing with a McKinnon or he's playing second line minutes, he's playing top power play or even second power play, Kadri's value has increased tremendously because of this. But if he ends up being on a third line role, right now all of a sudden you're not seeing that, so you have to keep an eye and pay attention to the lineups and how Colorado plans to use him moving forward. So far, so good. I think Junior.
Yeah, so
So,
I'll just tell you how many minutes he played today in his first game versus Minnesota. He had one assist, plus one, 21 minutes and 47 seconds.
That's first line minutes.
That's
so
first line.
this,
McKinnon played 22 minutes and 29 seconds.
Yeah, that's
so,
first line minutes.
so the offer I
Crazy.
got was to pick up Nazem Kadri for a middle round pick. That's not gonna happen anymore, right?
No.
So before the trade deadline, listener Jamie said I might be trying to unload Kadri for a middle round guy, a middle round draft pick. I said no
You might
because
still be
I.
able to do it.
You think so? For a
Yeah,
middle round
because
guy,
I
I
mean,
Offer it
don't
before this we publish this episode.
offer
Imagine.
offer tonight.
Yeah. Off.
And by the way, 5 shots on goal today for Kadri. Also,
Naz.
so
God damn Naz. All right. So you know what everybody's here to listen to
Better
about
than
the Montreal.
Lafreniere.
Yeah, look at it. Shots fired. Montreal Canadiens, according to Elliot Freeman, had a deal in place last
oh
minute with a
baby,
team for a player. However, either the deal, the deal fell through last minute, or they ran out of time. So to expand on this, because there's more information that came out on this, still, like we said, the sources on Twitter are on X is on X. So they're saying that it was the other team that bailed out last minute, and people are assuming more and more that it was for a right-handed D-man. So our question of the day is, who do you think that player is? So, Junior, I'm gonna go to you first. Who do you think? Because it's not like Elliot said. It was just he says it was a trade that was gonna change the landscape of the
It,
Montreal
it
Canadiens.
was a big. So
Yeah.
I
So it's
don't
not.
think
It's
anybody actually linked both those rumors together. I could be
mm,
wrong, but from what I saw, nobody actually linked the rumor of the right-handed D and the other team backing out and the big trade that didn't happen that Kent Hughes said could go to the off season. No one
today there
linked those
was
together.
today there was some people that linked it, but like I said, it's not.
If I
It's
had
not
to
a
guess,
Dreger or Friedman. So that's why I'm asking. Who would you think that they're?
That's a
it's
question of the day, by the way, for
Yes,
our
yes.
listeners out there. I
we're
want to
gonna
know who
post it
you guys
tomorrow.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know who you guys think was this big trade that didn't go down.
Or yeah. Do you guys have an idea? I was thinking more
I
as
have a
a
name.
as a center more so than a right-handed D.
Yeah,
Are you going to say
Was
Robert
assuming
Thomas?
it was Byfield.
Byfield. Wow.
Byfield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he's on the block at all.
Well, but guys, this player was not on the block. This was it was a name that wasn't rumored. It was a name that
Really?
wasn't. They're saying Montreal was going after a player that potentially wasn't rumored,
I, I, I don't know.
or it could just be Robert Thomas.
No, I don't think it was Robert Thomas. I think Robert Thomas, they weren't availed last. I don't think it was Robert Thomas. I think, well, like I told Nick, I think it's Nemec with New Jersey. I think,
They don't need that type of player though.
well, yeah,
It depends what they
you, you, you,
project Ryan
you,
Backer to
you,
be.
you don't take Nemec over Carrier and
Yeah, but Nemec is not going to kill penalty. Like Carrier is a penalty kill, even though he sucks at it. he's, he's a penalty
boy.
killer. He's a third pairing guy. I don't know.
You
I
should
mean,
take
I
off that
wouldn't
shirt
mind.
right
I
now.
wouldn't mind Nemec at all. By all means, I'll take him.
yeah, yeah.
But,
I think
Could
it
have
was
been Nemec.
Nemec.
Is he a
I
right-handed
think,
D?
yeah, he's right-handed D.
I
So I
thought
think
maybe it was Parenko at first, or
oh,
Paraiko, as Vincent.
Paraiko.
Right.
That's what I thought it was at first, but I think everybody should comment on this. Just let us know what you guys thought this trade should have been, would have been, and
Byfield.
then we
Byfield's
could.
an interesting name.
Byfield's an interesting one.
If if it
Robert
was
Thomas,
right-handed D,
possibly Nemec, Paraiko.
if I had to
Uh,
guess right-handed D, I'd say Schneider from the Rangers.
Yeah,
yeah,
but does that type of player change? Like even Nemec, does he
Yeah, that's
change the
it.
landscape of like the
You're
words he
right.
used was it was change it was gonna change the landscape of the Montreal Canadiens.
Ah, fuck
So
it.
like
so
Maybe it
that
was
means it's a
Matthew Nyes
2C.
or Austin Matthews. Maybe it was a Toronto Montreal deal.
imagine
To me, it
Jeff
was
Courtnall style.
to me that like
Or
the biggest
Russ Courtnall, I
trade,
should say. Or
the
I don't
biggest
remember.
trade that we could have done was for a center, like a center to play with back of Suzuki or in front of Suzuki. That's the
so
only thing I can
who
possibly think of that
Okay,
makes
so
that big
I'm
of a
going to
deal.
list you the teams that were out of because no one would make that kind of a trade if they're in the playoffs, right? So these are the teams that are not in the playoffs that don't even have a chance to make it.
Then we're gonna
Or
go for a word
sellers.
for our sponsor.
Flyers, Capitals, Devils, Panthers, Maple Leafs, and Rangers. Anybody there that comes to mind that could change the landscape of your team?
Michkov,
Lafreniere?
Can you imagine if it was Mishkov? Connect
Lafreniere.
me. Lafreniere. But then in the West,
Lafreniere
Jesus.
would have been a big one.
The
They're looking for a
Predators-
winger.
The Predators, maybe, but they're still in the hunt, sort of. But okay, Kings, Predators, Jets, Blues, Flames, Blackhawks, Canucks. I mean, unless it was Elias Pettersson and Ronick, it was a dual package. I don't know, but
Guys, imagine it was Shane. Imagine it was Shane Wright.
Do you guys think it was maybe like a Wallstat?
Oh,
We're everybody's thinking D, everybody's thinking
D,
forward,
yeah.
you're right.
Maybe.
but nobody's saying goalie.
goalie. Ooh.
Right, a Wallstat would have changed the complexion of the Montreal Canadiens moving forward.
Yes,
You know what?
100%.
This is an interesting topic. So, to everyone out there, if you have a name, listen. Look, we give you some names. If you have another name, we just want a conversation going on. So go ahead, leave a message. Junior's gonna post this on Instagram tomorrow. The question of the day. We will interact with you and see what options are interesting. And then you know what? If this trade happens in the summer, we'll find out who was right and
I'm
who was
convinced
wrong.
it's Wallstat now. You know
Guys,
that, eh? I'm
guys,
convinced.
like the
I'm
rumor went
convinced.
away for a while, but maybe a Sidney Crosby.
Ah, here we go.
I thought of that. I thought of that because that would have changed the complexion, but I just don't know for how
Wipe it.
long, right? But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that
All
but
right.
would
that
have
that
been
that is like a like that changes everything. Like you're
everything.
getting
Yes, yes,
the whole
All
world
right.
yeah.
flips upside down over here.
Let's. I'll just do a word. We'll continue with
Wow.
all
Now
the
I think it's
trades that are
Crosby.
going. Freaking Nick jumping ship all the time. Okay, so we'll
Oh yeah,
do.
like you did with Tage Thompson, eh? I trade for him, I trade him away. I trade for him, I trade him away.
And I got what I wanted, so stop being a
Mm.
sourpuss about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so a word from our sponsors, DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbooks, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on the ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbooks. New customers, bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York? Call 877-78-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut? Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
May apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Voided in Ontario and Quebec. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL. All rights reserved. All right, so before Nick started being a sourpuss, let's go see what was the next trade over here. So Utah Mammoths, they were in big on Robert Thomas, but apparently the price tag was way too high for them. So they settled to acquire defenseman Mackenzie Weegar from the Calgary Flames for defenseman Oli Mata, forward Jonathan Castagne, and 3 second-round picks in 2026. I mean, is Utah's defense almost as close as Buffalo's defense, or are they still missing a few pieces? Nick?
Well, I mean, what I was gonna say here is that I don't know if you guys noticed, but the defense in the West was just one team was upgrading, then the other team was upgrading, then the other team was upgrading. Like Dallas upgraded their D, Utah had to go upgrade their D, Colorado upgraded theirs. Like it was just back and forth, like loading up for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And those three teams are going to be very interesting to watch. Um, when I take a look at the Utah Mammoth defense now, with Uyghur in there, you have Dursey already, who's a good middle of the pack offensive guy, right? Sergachev, right? Am I getting that right? Yeah.
Yeah, Sergachev,
Yeah.
the John
He's
John
just injured
Marino.
right now, so he doesn't appear
Yeah,
on
that's right.
there.
So Sergachev, Uyghur, Nate Schmid, that's three guys right there, I think, that are legitimate top four defenders in the league. You add a Jersey, you add a Marino, you add a few other guys like that could really
Ian
do
Cole.
something. I think, yeah, I mean, I think this is a team that upgraded. Now, is it enough? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that this is enough. But guys, this took Uyghur out of the purgatory that was the Calgary Flames
Mhm.
and brought him back to fantasy relevance, and that's all we care about for fantasy podcast. I think that Mackenzie Weegar, even if he's only on the second power play, even if he's just a top four defenseman on that team, all of a sudden has fantasy relevance again. I even tried to pick him up in Project Llama, but unfortunately, listener Merms actually had him already. Listener Jamie already had him already. So yeah, I think this brings him back to fantasy relevance. I don't know, Junior.
Yeah, I think it's something definitely to keep an eye on. I mean, the way Utah right now has their power play set up, they kind of have two good units. Like the second unit is Cooley, Paterka, Kraus, Carcone, and Uyghur. So I mean, if they split the time there, I mean, Uyghur can definitely produce. Now, when Sergachev comes back, does he take Dursey's spot and Dursey goes to PP2, or what's happening here? What did I miss?
Vince,
Except for my kids to pick up.
is that your kid's drink? Is that your kid's sippy cup? You just
I can't get up to
I
go
don't
get
know.
water. It was the closest thing there. I was parched. What's your problem? If you weren't gonna make a
Ladies
big
and
scene out
gentlemen,
of
this
it,
is a
no one was
serious
gonna know.
podcast. If we do not get views on YouTube, I will be severely disappointed after this one.
I'll just
Go
want to
ahead,
add
Junior.
something about Jonathan Castagna that on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, Elliot Friedman had said, like prior to the deadline, someone randomly mentioned this player to him and said, just keep an eye out for him. He's a third round pick, 70th overall, but like a lot of people are starting to think that he might make a niche for himself in the NHL. And then lo and behold, he was part of a package here. So maybe it's someone to stash in deeper leagues if you can. Jonathan Castagna from Cornell University. He currently has 32 points in 29 games.
Oh. All right. Next. Oh, go Nick.
According to Hockey Prospecting, only 1% chance of being a star. Um, but he's only 21 years old, so something to look at for Castagna.
So to
Chestnut.
the yeah, just to the second, I think biggest trade, the trade deadline, or happened the morning of or the night before. The
It was
Anaheim
like 1
Ducks.
a.m.
Yeah, the Anaheim Ducks acquired defenseman John Carlson from the Washington Capitals for a conditional first round pick in the 2026 NHL draft and a third round pick in 2027. So this, from what the stories are out there, this happened uh, pretty quickly. They spoke about it. They came to an agreement. It was done. Um, we've been saying it on this podcast that the biggest thing is that uh, Anaheim needs some stability back there, uh, offensive, because Lacombe was struggling for a bit. Zellweger, Minchkov weren't there. Truba and Gudis, they're your physical guys. But I feel now they got not only offensive but a very well-rounded defensive defenseman also in John Carlson. How does this pan out for them in the West, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, John Carlson's an absolute star. 30, like I traded him away. I think it was in LPHL a couple of years ago, 3 years ago now. And the reason I traded him away is I'm like, oh, he's 33. He's going to start going down, the age gap. And the guy's on pace for 69 points this year. Like, absolutely phenomenal. He is injured, but actually, I'm not sure if he's injured or he's
No,
He's
he's back. He's back.
practicing,
Yeah,
but
he's
he's not
practicing.
ready
okay.
yet.
So he was on pace though for 69 points this year. He's an absolutely phenomenal player. 20, almost 23 minutes of ice time at the age of 36 years old. This is a huge get for Anaheim. In my opinion, it helps put less pressure on Lacombe, who's still a very young defenseman who just got a big pay raise, yes, but he's still a very young defenseman. And it helps Anaheim, again, in the Western Conference. All these teams are loading up on defensemen because that's what you need in the playoffs to succeed. You need a lot of them. So this kind of this is a great move for Anaheim. I love John Carlson. I think he's going to be productive the rest of the year too.
Yeah, and he plays penalty. He was playing over 50% of the time on the penalty kill, and Anaheim is 24th in the league in the penalty kill. So that could be an aspect that improves with John Carlson, even though we know him more as an offensive player. And Nick, the crazy thing about pacing for 69 points is that he's on a team with Jacob Chikrin,
Mm.
who's got like 20 plus goals already. So it's really impressive.
We should
Then
mention, now that you said that, this solidifies Chikrin, which we already kind of knew it was coming, but this solidifies Chikrin as the number one defenseman to own in Washington, and probably going to be a top 10 D for a long time in fantasy circles.
I
who's
just
that?
love what Washington is doing. Like I mentioned it on X there, but I love how they're taking a page out of the Tampa Bay Lightning book. There's no emotional attachment to your players. You have a process, you have a vision. If that player doesn't no longer fits your process and where you're going, it's okay to to go your separate ways and give him another opportunity. And going to Anaheim is an excellent opportunity for him. And Capitals get some assets that's going to allow them to move forward with the younger crop that's coming in.
That's exactly what I was trying to do with McKinnon, but
Mm.
yeah.
But the question is the question now that we're with Washington, the question is who's their second defenseman now that's going to be replacing John Carlson? Is this Sandin's opportunity to come out and be an offensive defenseman for this team?
Well, there's a player that's going to be joining the team probably at the end of the year, before the
Look
end of
how
the
look how
season.
happy Nick is. I forgot about McKinnon.
There's a little Cole Hudson that's going to be making his way pretty soon. In the meantime, though, they did also go trade for Lygren,
Hmm.
Timothy Lygren. But yeah, for now, I would assume it's Sandin until Cole Hudson comes and they gradually bring him in.
Okay, and another young player, Calgary acquired Brennan Ottoman from the New York Rangers for Jacob Battaglia. I mean, we just kept this in here because Ottoman was a hot prospect coming in, especially he played a few games with the Rangers, showed some good positive stuff in his NHL games. He's 23 years old. He was drafted 16th overall. But unfortunately, like even in the AHL, 16 points in 26 games. The Rangers 1 point in 17 games. Can this change the scenery, Junior? Make it that he becomes the prospect, that number 16 pick that New York thought he could have been, or is this just a guy who's just gonna try become basically, I'd say, like a Michael McCarron, where he's gonna try to fit on the third or fourth line of the team?
It's really hard. I mean, like one of us wackos had a bold prediction that he would, I don't know, score 20 goals or something this year. You crazy people, you. But it's hard. Like he's only ever averaged 9 minutes a game. He's never averaged more than 10 minutes a game. So how much of an opportunity did he really get? Now he was on a team that was expected to win. He's going on a team now that's trying to find a new core, a new niche. Maybe he can find this spot there. He hasn't quite hit 24 years old yet. He's only played 42 career games. So I think the story's still there to be written for Brennan Othman. I always liked him, but it's starting. Time is starting to tick.
Yeah, so I think it was our good friend Victor Nuno who posted on Twitter after this trade, and he said that basically Cooley has overtaken his spot. Cooley
Yeah.
does a lot of the similar things that Othman does, and he has shown a knack for some scoring and a lot of hits. So Cooley kind of took over, and Othman never really had an opportunity after that to showcase. Um, do I think Othman is as good as Cooley? I mean, potentially, but I think that's the level that you're kind of looking at, right? You're not looking at a surefire top six player anymore.
Hmm.
Now you're looking more of a middle six kind of guy, bottom six kind of guy in Othman, and you need those players. But fantasy relevance, unfortunately, doesn't look like it's very, very high. Hockey prospecting has him graduating at a 1% chance of being a star. So again, we're talking about very low probabilities that this guy turns into something that's going to be extremely fantasy relevant points wise.
And now the Edmonton Oilers. They traded for a goalie. They signed a goalie. They traded for two goalies, and they still have goalie problems. But yet, they did not go get a third goalie. But they did get Connor Murphy on defense from the Chicago Blackhawks for a second round pick in 2028. And I think the bigger acquisition is Jason Dickinson and Colton Dock from Chicago for Andrew Mangiapane, a conditional first round pick in the 2027 draft. So, I mean, Nick Murphy, I don't think it's a big. I mean, it shores up their defense. He's a very good defensive defenseman, that which they need because they have a lot of holes there. But for Dickinson, do you think that he could, like, he's 30 years old. He was a 29th overall pick. I mean, his best seasons 22 goals, 13 assists, 35 points with Chicago in 2023 24. This year, 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 points in 47 games. Eh, Where do you see him fit in Edmonton right now?
Well, he's another Philip Dano. He's a player that's going to get you about 30 points a year. Not fantasy relevant whatsoever, but great for Edmonton, because if you can't get your goaltending right, the best next thing that you could do is go out there and get defensive players to help out your goalies the best you can. So Connor Murphy is a very good penalty killer, a very good defensive defenseman, like you said, in blocks leagues, and maybe he does something for you. But he's not a point producer. Neither is Jason Dickinson. Both of these guys are just defensive defensemen or defensive forward, and they're going to help real life Edmonton. They're not going to help any fantasy teams.
And Nick, what does Hockey Prospecting have on Colton Dock? Like, do they see him as an NHLer, or is it just like that 2%, or is he in that 2 to 5%?
He's higher than Othman,
Oh,
but he's at 3%. So
3%. Okay.
not very high. But he has actually come out and started to become a little bit of a fourth liner guy that you could really rely on. So there's a possibility that he's their like Jake Evans type player, fourth line type player. Sorry for all the Montreal references. I'm just trying to like give you guys a visual of what he would look like. And he's most likely a fourth liner that could maybe kill some penalties and win some faceoffs and hopefully do those things in Edmonton.
Junior?
I came across this stat. Okay, since January 1st, McDavid has 36 points. Bouchard has 35 points. Draisaitl has 34 points, ranking them second, third, and fourth in the league in points since January 1st. Edmonton Oilers record since January 1st, 10, 10, and 2. 23rd best record in the National Hockey League. That's some wild stats, man. I don't know. Like, I'm starting to question, maybe they don't need to be better defensively. Maybe they just need secondary scoring. As crazy as that sounds, like, I don't know. I don't know. But McDavid took a pay cut to stay on this team. And what they did with that cap space, I don't know if that justifies going for the cup or not.
I can't wait for next year's I can't wait for next year's trade deadline when McDavid's up for grabs. It's going to be amazing.
Listen,
Maybe it was
Tasso,
McDavid.
Listener Tasso is a huge Edmonton fan. So is my buddy Tommy. Huge Edmonton fans. There's still hope that this is going to help you guys out in the playoffs. More important for listener Tasso is you got Max Crosby from the Raiders. So congratulations. Please take care of my boy. He was commitment.
I was an NFL reference.
Gotta throw them in there.
Listen, for
Take care
Edmonton,
of him, Tasso.
for Edmonton to make a run in this playoff, one of their goalies needs to start turn into fire, because there's way too many goals that are going in on that team for them to be even relevant in the playoffs.
Guys, what if they try to convince Marc-Andre Fleury to come out of retirement? Is it too late now? Was the deadline
Oh,
the last?
yeah. But I'm.
Is that the
I don't know the
limit?
rules.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
what the rule
I
is, but
mean, what do you
I
have
don't
to
know if
lose at
he's.
this point?
I don't know if he's NHL ready. Like
Yeah, like a guy.
to be on the
I'm-
couch
Yeah.
for 9 months and then hey, come in and play some playoffs for us.
Some would question if Jari and Ingram are NHL ready, and they've been in the league all year. So
So we'll see. Okay, so another
Connor
team that
Milfrey will help.
yeah, another team that made their splash during the season by acquiring Quinn Hughes, the Minnesota Wild. They acquired Michael McCarron for a second round pick in Nashville, and then they also acquired Bobby Brink from Philadelphia for defenseman David Jiricek. Jiricek is on his third team in not very long in the NFL, in the NHL. Uh,
Nick screwed you up.
yeah, exactly. Bobby Brink is bottom six forward. What do we think about these trades? Are we looking? Uh, David Jiricek, I mean, from Columbus, he says he was too good to be in the AHL and then got traded and then never established. Like, is he gonna be ahead of Drysdale in Philly? Is he gonna get a shot to be that number one, number two defenseman?
As of right
Joe?
now, he's starting in the minors. He's playing with the Phantoms. And in his first game, he like tripped over his feet. The other team scored a goal he because of that. But then on the flip side, I think they ended up coming back and tying the game 4-4 or something, and he had like 2 or 3 points, or a massive goal. So you get a bit of everything with him. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride. The problem with him was his injuries. He was never able to sustain a full season because he kept getting hurt, and that I think that hurt his draft stock as well. So we'll see. I mean, I would ease him in. I would just make him play. I think he just needs to play. The talent is there. Hopefully, he can develop enough to be. Look, he has less competition in Philadelphia. I think you guys can agree with that. So I think he just needs to play with the Phantoms for a bit in the AHL. And then next year, come to camp ready, healthy, and see what kind of noise you can make.
Nick?
Look, hockey prospecting had him pretty high, 40% chance of being a star. So for people like listener Bamia who are seeing him kind of bounce around from one team to another, I think Bamia traded for him. There's still a chance. It's still very early. Like, he's only 22 years old. It's very early in his development curve. He could be a late bloomer. I've just lost hope. Personally, I've lost a little bit of hope. It's too much. One team trades you away when you're that young. It's a red flag. Two teams trade you away when you're that young. It's another red flag. Like, to me, it's very problematic. His brother, on the other hand, his brother looks amazing. Adam Jiricek looks amazing.
St. Louis,
Thank
right?
you, Nick.
You're welcome. I traded him to you for Emil Hemming. I regret it a little bit now that you backstabbed me, but I think that I think that David has lost a little bit of luster. I'm not gonna lie. 84 games played, 11 assists, 2 goals. I'm expecting more.
Minnesota, though, the one guy I'm curious about is Bobby Brink. Because if he gets good deployment, that's a kid that a lot of people were high on. And from what I see here, he was with Eriksson Ek and Boldy today on the second line.
Yeah. So for anybody that's out there, the way I look at Bobby Brink is a lot less of a top 6 winger and a lot more of a Lehkonen style.
Yeah.
So he's responsible defensively, whereas we thought, or at least I thought, that when he was coming out in the draft, that he was going to be an offensive dynamo. Not so. He's more of a defensively responsible player that could chip in offensively here and there. So, I mean, don't look at Lehkonen necessarily in Colorado playing with McKinnon, right? McKinnon makes everybody look good. But just think of Lehkonen in Montreal. I think that's where you're looking at with Bobby Brink.
Today he got power play 2 times, so he got 30% of the power play, and he got 12 minutes and 52 seconds of ice time in his first game with his new team. But yeah, like you said, Nick, he's Lekkonen's like a compliment to a duo,
Yeah,
and then you hope that rubs off on them and they have one of those 30-goal seasons.
exactly, exactly.
Okay,
I'll also say, sorry, before you move on, Vince,
go ahead, Nick.
I'll also say that. So this is going to be a really long episode, by the way, obviously because it's the trade deadline episode. We're probably not going to have a fantasy lens this week because
Mm-hmm.
this one's going to go an hour and a half at least. So just letting everybody know the timeline there. And I just wanted to add, like you look at Minnesota's team. Minnesota is missing a center. I understand Eriksson Ek is a serviceable player. He is not a top line center necessarily, and I know that they're using their winger approach where they have Boldy, they have Kaprizov, they have guys that could drive the play from the wing,
Mm-hmm.
but they could really use a Robert Thomas. They could really
Yeah,
use
there's
a
no
good
salary, my
center.
friend. There's no.
Oh,
If they would have
Kaprizov,
acquired Robert Thomas,
Kaprizov
this
is
would have been the
getting
team to beat.
Kaprizov is getting at 17 million. Then you want to
I think
retry
Kadri would have looked amazing there too, by the way.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
at 20% retention. Yeah, listen, it would
The
have been
problem with
nice.
Colorado might
Kadri
flip
was
him
that
again.
he's got 4 more years, and next year they gotta pay what's his name 17 million.
Quinn Hughes, yeah, and then
No,
Quinn Hughes,
Kaprizov.
Kaprizov, and then Quinn Hughes the year after that.
He's got to
If they want to
sign.
re-sign him, yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
So, okay, Columbus. I think this player's, this player fantasy relevance gets boosted by this trade. Connor Garland gets traded to Columbus. Vancouver gets a third round pick in 2026 and a second round pick in 2028. I'm not sure what's happening in Columbus. Voronkov seems like he disappeared from the NHL. Ken Johnson has been playing peekaboo with his fantasy owners for the past 4 years. So, Nick, Connor Garland, it can, like, he was getting big minutes with Vancouver already, a smaller guy, but do you see him in the top six of Columbus?
Absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely in the top six. I mean, if you look at this team just got a lot deeper with Connor Garland in it. And I understand that, Fantilli is the big name. Sean Monahan is a great 2C for them right now. Marchenko is a big scorer. Mason Marchman is a big body that complements the Fantilli and Marchenko line. Garland just does a little bit of everything. He's one of those players that's feisty around the puck. He's not a big player. He's 5'10", but he skates really well. He's always in the thick of things, and he's a 50-point, I would say 49 to 50-point player when he was in Vancouver. Not this year. This year he wasn't doing very well, but nobody in Vancouver was doing well. I think this brings new life to Garland. I actually see him as being a top six staple on this Columbus team. And right now, it looks like he's playing with Kent Johnson and Monahan, which is great news, I think, for both Monahan and Kent Johnson.
Julian?
Yeah, not much else to add. Basically, the only thing I'm going to say, in addition to what Nick already said, is this type of player in this system always does well. They went to get Charlie Coyle, who's kind of a bit of the same type of player, gritty, has a nose for the net, can get some offensive punch. He's been doing well. They went to get Marchment when healthy. He's been producing on this team. So I see the same thing for Garland. He's smaller than those guys, but he's got the same style of play as them. And I can see him succeeding, especially if he's given top six
Hard to play
deployment.
against, right?
Hard to play
every
against.
time I see Garland, I feel like he's hard to play against.
Great forechecker, too.
Yeah, that's why I think that's a big part of it. Yeah,
Even a guy like Boone Jenner, the same type of players. These guys, they're a little bit redundant, but that's what makes Columbus who they are.
yeah, they'll beat you with a bunch of hard workers.
Yeah. The one rule, the one man rule we go by is never return to your ex. Well, this player, he returned to his ex.
Multiple
Corey
times.
Perry. Corey Perry goes back to Tampa Bay. Um, I mean, 2 goals in 2 games. Power play one. Junior is. Can he be a good? If your lineup is deep in your fantasy league, can he be a guy that you pick up from waivers to help you in the playoff run?
You can. He's a good depth guy to have. Look, right now Tampa Bay has a lot of depth injuries. We spoke a bit about it last week. I think it was Dominic James and a couple of other guys. But so he's got an opportunity, and he's definitely going to have his spot on a power play. That's his bread and butter. He was good when he was with Tampa. He was good when he was with LA. Anytime that guy's on the power play, you put him in front of the net, he gets points. His deployment is subtle. It's 15 minutes a game. Today was a little less because I think he got a 5-minute major. But he shoots the puck. He gets goals, and he's on a team that scores a lot of goals. So for me, yes, he's going to be one of those streamers, I think, more than anything.
Nick?
I think that's perfectly said.
Nice. Look at you guys. I mean, we're just talking about this just because, I was thinking of getting it out, but it's something to talk about. Los Angeles Kings acquires Scott Laughton for a third round pick in 2026. I mean, Laughton is going to be, the story out there,
I
unfortunately,
see what you
is,
did there.
yeah, I know, but the story out there, unfortunately, Toronto paid a first round pick for this guy, which Philly has, and it's a 2027 one, which looks like it'll be a low one again if they have the same catastrophic season that they have this year. I mean, Latin, that player, a good number 3 centerman on LA with Kopitar behind Kopitar Byfield. Does this help them make a push to the playoffs in the West? Nick?
I love it. I love the trade for you paid almost nothing for him. And if you ask any of our Toronto friends, they were saying that Scott Laughton has been the best Leaf so far this season, even though the season is catastrophic. He's been one of the guys that goes in every single week and performs, or at least gives it his all, right? And you kind of see the effort every single week. You wish everybody does that on Toronto, and they would have been a much better team. So in that sense, yes, fantasy relevance, not much here, right? I mean, third line center gives some depth to LA, which is great for LA. Fun to see the playoffs. Fun to see what LA does in the playoffs.
Junior?
Yeah, not much to add. I mean, Toronto's management really set them back a lot, and they'll have some big decisions to make in the off season. And by big, I mean, what do you do with Austin Matthews, who only has 2 years left on his contract? Do you plan on keeping him or not? I think that's a decision they have to make in the off season, and then move forward from there. The longer you let it drag, if they start off slow again and you bring that into the new season, just decide: are you going for it, or are you starting from scratch? And do you want this GM to be the guy who starts from scratch? I doubt it. But yeah, look, even LA guys, LA they're not written to be in the playoffs. Like they're right now they're 3 points away from the second wild card spot. San Jose's ahead of them with 66 points, and they have 64. So it's going to be tight, but it was weird because LA seemed to be one of those I'm buying and I'm selling, like a little bit in between,
Well, I think the Fiala injury really set them back because they were full buyers until Fiala got injured. Once Fiala got injured, it was like, okay, well, we just got Artemi Panarin. We lost Fiala, so Scott Laughton is not going to replace Fiala. Right? But at least you got something. You got a warm body and somebody that could play good minutes for you.
But the good news for Toronto Maple Leaf fans, the St. Louis Blues are beating the Anaheim Ducks 3-0 right now. If this score holds, you will only be 6 points away from the 5th worst record in the NHL, which means you get to keep your first round pick.
Maybe there's still a lottery, though. They could be bumped out of the top
wow,
5 of the lottery.
Listen,
can you imagine? That would be a whole crap.
If they go with, well, that's what listener Dan predicted in the thing, that they get into that 5th pick and then get pushed out.
No, that would be brutal.
That's brutal.
If there was ever something that added salt to the wound, that would be it. Like,
and then you have the TSN. And then you had the TSN panel
TSN
that had Toronto winning the whole lottery and picking McKenna first overall, which was amazing because everybody knows it was like
Fixed.
fixed. Yeah, for sure.
Fixed. But
So
okay, guys, like honestly though, if McKenna does go to Toronto and you just put him with Austin Matthews,
yeah,
Watch out, man.
yeah, of course.
Again, I don't want to.
it's like they have Marner back.
No, but like
Yeah.
I don't know if they deserve that. You know, they had such a ridiculous
Deserve has nothing
score.
to do with it, my friend. It's
I
all
know,
about
I know.
luck of the draw.
Exactly. Okay, so listen. Surprisingly, this team did something. A team that was full of, we say it always, second line, third line, fourth line players. The Seattle Kraken. They went out and they went to get Bobby McCann. Now, Bobby McCann is no Austin Matthews, but he still played top 6 minutes. I think scored between 20 and 30 goals in his career. Nick, can he help boost the offensive struggles in Seattle?
Well, McCann is one of the
McMahon.
yeah.
McMahon?
Okay,
What
that's
is
what
it?
I
What's
said.
Yeah, he's
McCann is
McMahon,
already
but they
with
also have
Seattle.
McCann.
Oh, McMahon. Sorry, McMahon. Yes, they have McCann. Yes, sorry, McMahon. Sorry.
I can see the
it's gonna-
confusion, I think there's a joke somewhere in there, right? Because that makes a lot of sense. All the Pedersons in Vancouver, all the McCanns, McMahons in
Imagine
in
being the
Seattle.
play-by-play. McMahon. No, I mean McCann. I mean,
See, McCann was already on Seattle, and he is a
Yes,
30
exactly.
scorer
There
in the
you
past.
go.
He's actually scored
And
40
he's-
once.
And McMahon is a 20-goal scorer. There we go.
correct. And
Yes.
he's one away from that as we
As we
this year so
speak
far.
this year. Yeah.
So McMahon, I think, is one that a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs fans were really hoping that they would get a first for. They ended up getting a first for Nick Roy, just because I think position is very important, and a center outweighs a winger that could pot in 20 goals, right? So McMahon, turning 30 by the end of the season, he is going to be going to a Seattle team where there's a lot of other players that score the same amount of goals that he does. 20. A bunch of 20 goal scorers. So Seattle basically just proved everybody that they like this type of player. 20 goal scorers. 40 points.
It's the exact move we would have suspected a Seattle team to do. Like, it's go
It's the
get.
same guy.
You know that meme with the Spider-Mans all pointing at each other? That's the Seattle Kraken. All
Guys,
middle six players.
Who's Jordan Eberle? Middle
Oh, he
six.
signed an extension, by the way.
Yeah,
2-year
Hey.
extension.
extension. Yeah.
I don't know. Shane Wright.
Well, Shane Wright. Listen, they're putting Shane Wright's name out there to see if there's any bites where they can get something in return for him. I'm guessing they're not
He doesn't
very
look
happy
like a
with him.
top line player.
Yeah,
I
listen,
think-
I was the guy who said he was going to be their number one center in front of Berniers, but it's not like Berniers is doing any better either. So
No, but him and Chandler Stevenson and basically the same player.
Mm.
Shane
Yeah.
Wright, Beniers, Chandler Stevenson.
Tolvanen, Kako, it's all the same. I think what they did with McMahon is they seem to have maybe rushed Berkeley Catton a little too soon.
Yeah,
He doesn't
I
seem
agree.
to be ready, and I think this is just a move to maybe, I don't know if they're going to send him down or just keep him around, but alleviate a bit off Catton.
all right, so I mean that's a basic review of the most important trades. I mean, we did
There
it.
were
I think
others.
there were other trades, but I think we did it in less time than the TSN or Sportsnet panel, and we made it a little more fun than it was waiting 8 hours just sitting there waiting for a trade to appear. So, just to some hockey news that we might have missed because of the trade deadline. Malkin got suspended 5 games for slashing Dahlin in the head, almost Brashear style. Dahlin was fine. He played today. Almost got into a scrap with Hagel. How much of a loss is Malkin for the next 5 games for Pittsburgh? I mean, it doesn't seem like they're missing a beat. I think they won the last 2 games that he wasn't there. Junior?
Was this the first game or they played 2 games without him?
No, I think they played before that, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Well, they played today, which they won. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they played yesterday and they lost in shootouts to the Flyers. So 1 overtime loss and 1
3
win.
points in 2 games without him.
Yeah.
They play 3 games next week: Carolina, Vegas, and Utah. So might not be as friendly next week.
Bon chance.
They're gonna miss him, I think, and it's all on the road too. So definitely gonna be a big hit. But like they have Raquel playing center, so I don't know. For those of you who have waiver pickups, maybe Raquel could be a good option.
Landeskog out week to week, Lekanen out week to week. But I mean, with the Kadri addition, uh, does that kind of push these injuries aside, Nick, for Colorado?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Kadri is. They're all different players, right? In the end of the day, but I think Kadri being in the top line right now is mostly because all these other guys are injured.
Hmm.
But even if they come back, I mean, you could kind of interchange all these guys, so it doesn't make much of a
Uh,
difference.
Hints, since the Olympic break has not been out or been in and out of the lineup, he's been out at least a couple of weeks. I mean, we don't go a season without seeing Hints on the injury list or the IR list. Like, uh, is he starting to be that player where we want to try to avoid drafting high because he's so injury prone? Joe?
I don't think he gets drafted high enough to say don't draft him, like pass him,
Mhm.
like you know, fade him, I guess. But so no, but I mean, what I like now is this gives Duchesne, who's been on an absolute tear the last like 3 weeks,
Mhm.
even more of a boost because there's no Rantanen and there's no Hints. So this could be a good opportunity for those who own Duchesne and are trying to offload him to get something in return, where it might have looked a little bit more bleak to start the season.
Finally, Gothenburg is out day to day, but I mean Carolina is kind of walking away in that division D. So I mean, even if he's out day to day, he'll be back for the important games in the playoffs. I don't think it's a big loss, and it just gives Nikishin a bit more of a push on that line and on that defensive line. Two players that have to get reevaluated. Both their situations did not look good. Both gold medalists. Nick, I'm going to ask you to talk about Larkin, who's out and has to be reevaluated. If this is a serious injury, how devastating is it for Detroit?
So again, Victor Nuno on Twitter came out and was asked to do a little bit of an assessment because you know that Victor Nuno is actually in medicine as well, and said that it's a little bit scary, like an MCL type injury like this. Like he's projecting that it could be an MCL type injury like this, but I think recent reports are stating that it's not as bad as they first thought.
Mm-hmm.
So might be something that he comes back in time for the playoffs, and it's not going to be a big deal. But Detroit still has to make it there, right? So
Yeah.
for now, Andrew Kopp is going to get some added play time. We'll
They're
see.
saying it could be something like what Crosby has. So listen, we'll see. But hopefully, for Detroit's sakes, hopefully it's not serious and that he can come back. They've been on a really good run now, so
If there was one player on that team that could not get injured,
it's
it
like
was him because that's
or
where they
Luke.
lack the
Oh yeah.
most depth, at
Yeah.
center. So
Hey, Marco Casper, here's your opportunity, my friend.
yeah,
Start stepping up.
exactly.
Junior Jake Sanderson in defense for the Ottawa Senators. Also, him last night did not look good. Being reevaluated, nothing has come out yet of what his injury is. Um, Ottawa's fighting for a playoff spot. They're still fighting. I think they are. Looking at the standings here.
5 points behind.
Uh, they are 5 points behind Boston, but they have a game less. So let's say if they win that game, they're 3 points. Can they make a serious push to the wild card position without Jake Sanderson?
I don't think so. That's a guy that logs 20, almost 25 minutes a game. 61% on the power play, 61 shorthanded. He plays in all situations, and you're gonna take him out, and then you're back to Shabbat being your number one. So Shabbat, Zub, Jensen, Clevin, Spence. I think they're missing a bit of depth back there in order to survive without him. So yeah, if this is, we said Larkin is the one guy they couldn't afford to lose. Jake Sanderson is the one guy Ottawa Senators are going to have they're going to struggle without, for sure. Hopefully it's not for an extended period of time.
Final question for the Odd Man Rush. Nick, who's your winner, if there is, and loser in this draft? In this trade deadline. Who's your winner, and who's the team that you think benefited most with the trades they made, and who are the ones that you thought were going to do a little more and did absolutely nothing?
Well, I mean, I'll keep it close to home in this case. I think that Montreal is a winner, believe it or not, in the sense that they didn't overpay to get a player that's a rental. And I don't think it was time necessarily. Yes, they are a playoff team. Guys, don't forget, at the beginning of this season, we had said that this team is going to be a battle for them to even make the playoffs. And they seem to have proved us wrong. They are in a playoff spot regardless of how difficult it was going to be for them to get there this year. Let the young kids keep developing. Let them have ice time. Don't bring in a veteran like a Braden Shen, for example, to play on the second line and take Kapanen out of the lineup or move him down a few spots. Like, let the young kids develop, see what you have, and then go from there. It also gives an opportunity for guys like Dobich to really establish themselves in the league now, right? Because they didn't go out to get that other goalie. Maybe it was Wallstead. Maybe Fowler comes up for the playoffs, right? Like, I'm just saying that there's opportunity here for the young guys to show one more year what they have. And then next year, maybe you go and start bringing in some of these guys to help you for the playoffs. Like, the window's just cracking open for the Habs. I don't think it was time to go all in.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be plenty of that opportunity in the next few years, which is very exciting.
And your loser?
I mean, any team that was trying to sell. I find that it was kind of a buyer's market out there. There wasn't a lot of teams that were willing to trade a lot. And, like, it's too bad that Parayko didn't get traded. It would have been nice to see St. Louis get even more draft capital coming in. And maybe they'll do it at the draft. But, like, teams like Calgary, like, get more youth in the lineup. It wasn't enough, I find, what they got. So, I don't know. I find the seller teams were a little bit outnumbered by the buyers, or there was a little bit more sellers than there were buyers this time of the year.
Junior?
For me, the loser was Carolina. And, like, I know they're sitting pretty there, first in their division, first in the East. If there was a time to spend some assets to make sure you absolutely get out of the East and you don't get too comfortable, like, they could have spent what the Islanders spent on Braden Shen and brought in a Braden Shen to go up and down as a 2 or 3C on that team, add some grit. I think he would have fit that team nicely. I think the fact that they didn't do anything to address that, I think it's going to cost them. So for me, they're the losers of
That's a good point.
the trade deadline.
Spot there, right?
Yeah.
Stuff KK.
And the winners,
I don't think he's playing.
just to be, yeah. I'm going to go with Anaheim. I think the John Carlson addition was huge because that division is up for grabs. And if they could solidify their back end a little bit, because they can score, they can go with it with anyone. Like any of the teams in the West, they can score as much as they can. The problem is that they let in a lot. So if they could, they addressed a major need, and that's something that a lot of teams.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
To do so. For me, they're the winners.
I'd say winners Colorado. Losers, I don't think Edmonton did enough for what they had. So I think Edmonton are the losers in my books. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, an hour and a half of the Odd Man Rush. After this, we'll talk about the Pebble League.
PBLL League, that Nick affectionately calls Pebble, but no one else likes it. Partial breakaway listener league.
Alrighty then. So
What a
we
banger song.
Yeah, a banger song.
What a banger
Absolute
song.
banger after banger. We had a pretty heated race for first place this week, for this period, I should say. Bonos is currently in first with 198 points. Vito P just behind with 192. And Listener Rook in third with 190. There's still some games going on, but based off their lineups, I think Bonos will probably carry over as the winner this week. We'll take a quick look at his team before we move on to what's coming this week. So he had Macklin Celebrini, as probably did 99% of the teams in this league. Tage Thompson. Wow, that was a ridiculous week. Cutter Gauthier, Brandon Hagel, Nikita Kucherov, Martin Necas, Lane Hudson, Matthew Schaefer, and Scott Wedgwood. Okay, let's just do this. So, wow, this is insane. You know how we say like having multiple players at 20 plus fantasy points on your team, like 4 players is good on a week. He had Celebrini at 23, Tage Thompson 26, Cutter Gauthier 23, Kucherov 25, Necas 31, and his goalie 25. Like he absolutely killed it. You know what? I should have done my homework and checked what the best possible team was this weekend, if how close someone came to it. But so yeah, congratulations to Bo Knows 7 for pretty much winning this week. It's going to be confirmed in the next couple of hours, but we won't be on air to do so, to confirm it. In terms of the overall rankings, Vito P remains in first place. He's got about a 20-point lead. Actually, if I go to standings here, I can probably see it better, but it doesn't matter. Bo Knows has actually climbed to second place in the total standings, and Listener Bats is in third. Boys, as for us, we've got some work to do. I'm in 12th.
We're dead in the water, my friend. There's no work
100
We're dead in the water.
200 points behind. I'm also in 16th. Hades and Poseidon. I have to say credit to Nick because his teams for the longest time were in the bottom 5 and bottom 10 to start the season. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. And he's climbed his way to top 20 with both teams.
I started from the bottom. Now I'm still here.
And now, like Vince is saying, we're out in the gutter. You know, we're out on it. But I will remind everybody, there's 6 weeks left in this pool. Week by week, inch by inch, point by point. Do not give up. You never know how it's going to turn out. But you might have to alter your strategy a little bit going forward. We mentioned it last week. So if you want to be a little bit different, go see what Vito P has been doing the last couple of weeks. Has he been having the same players? Does he take Celebrini every week, regardless of his matchups? Who does he pick and choose to fill up his roster? Maybe that's where you could be a little bit different and see if you can get someone better and try to edge him out that way. You can do the same for Bo Knows and Listener Bats number 2. So let's go on, Vince.
Junior, yes, I just want to answer your question. So the best lineup you could have put up last week well, this week that just ended, is as your centermans, Nathan McKinnon and Mark Scheifele. As your left wingers, Forsberg and Jack Hughes, or even Pavel Zacha would have worked. Right wingers, Natchez, Tage Thompson. Kucherov was number 3, so not even Kucherov. In D, Makar Hiskinen, and goalie Wedgwood. Now, would fit under the salary cap?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
But the more of those players you had, I mean,
Yeah, the more of those
better-
players you had, the better chances you had. Exactly.
Exactly.
that's a
Um,
cute little way to put it, though.
So, one very important note: there is a game at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Monday, March 9th. This is a game that was canceled and pushed past the deadline. I believe it's LA versus Columbus. So, make sure your lineups are done before 4 p.m. Eastern. 80% of the teams are playing 4 games. I'll run through them very quickly. Anaheim Ducks, Calgary Flames, Columbus Blue Jackets, Edmonton Oilers, Los Angeles Kings, Minnesota Wild, Montreal Canadiens, the Rangers, the Senators, the Flyers, the Sharks, the Kraken, the Blues, the Maple Leafs, Utah, Washington Capitals, and the Winnipeg Jets. There's only one team playing 2 games, and regardless, I think it's a team to stay away from for a while now. The New Jersey Devils are only playing 2 games this week. Everybody else is playing 3 or 4. In terms of strength of schedule, position rating, here we go. Easiest schedules on the week are the Ottawa Senators. They're playing 4 games this week. They're playing the Vancouver Canucks, the Montreal Canadiens, the Anaheim Ducks, and the San Jose Sharks. You could probably already tell why they have the easier strength of schedule, because all of these teams probably average 4 goals a game against. The Nashville Predators and the Toronto Maple Leafs also have easy schedules. Toronto also playing 4 games, also playing Montreal and Anaheim. Those, and Nashville's playing 3 games, Seattle, Vancouver, and Edmonton. Boys, I'll hand it over to you. I'll start with you, Nick, since Vince spoke a lot during that last during the Odd Man Rush, so we'll give him a mini break here. What's your strategy this week? What's your lineup looking like? And what should the listeners know going into this week?
Well, I actually looked at Utah as maybe one of the second, if not the easiest strength of schedule. I thought Utah has a pretty easy schedule. They're playing Chicago twice, Pittsburgh and Minnesota.
6th easiest schedule this week.
So, but I like them. I like that team right now, the way it stands. So I'm putting Clayton Keller in. I'm putting Gunther in, and I'm putting Vijmelka from Utah in. Hopefully he gets those 2 Chicago games. Leo Carlson is going to be in my lineup. They're playing 4 times this week as well. Celebrini is a staple in my lineup from now on. I'm never taking him out until he starts signing for $10 million. Cutter Gotsky is in there. Peterka is in there for Utah as well. I forgot about him before. Jackson Lacombe from Anaheim, and Darren Radish. I think he's the 5th best defenseman in the league, and I traded him for almost nothing. So, yes, these are my lineups for this week.
Yeah, listen, where I am in the standings, you shouldn't be listening to what I tell you right now. But I'm staying put. I'm hard-headed. I'm going with teams that play 4 games. Yeah, I smashed the Utah and Montreal Canadian players. Montreal to win a game has to score 5 goals at this point. So I put some of their top players, and Utah have some good ELC contracts. So I put those 2 together, and not that it's gonna make a difference, but that's what I would be looking into right now. And how many weeks are left, Junior, till
6 weeks.
6 weeks? So it's gonna be an interesting race between Vito P and Bo. Listener Bats is still there at 57. Drew 22 is at 85 points behind him. So I think I consider anybody who's under 100 points is still somewhat alive.
Yeah, there's 5 teams behind Vito P that are within 100 points.
Yeah.
It's I mean, look, anything could happen. And Vince, I mentioned Nick, but your team Max D did climb the rankings as well. They're just outside the top 20 at 22 point, at 22nd spot.
Yeah,
So,
you want to know something, Junior?
What? You
Max
haven't
D is
changed
my
that
team.
lineup?
Max D is my team that I haven't changed the lineup since the beginning of the year.
Macklin Celebrini, Nathan McKinnon, Kyle Connor, Morgan Geeky, Ivan Demidov, Alex Tuck, Lane Hudson, Matthew Schaefer, and Dustin Wolf. That's Vince's untouchable team, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't have much to add. The guys you guys mentioned are the teams I like: Minnesota, Ottawa, Montreal, Utah, Toronto, and Edmonton. So I haven't done my lineup yet, but I will based off the strength of schedule of those teams. And guys, I think that's about it. We will start planning our playoff pool because we want to gather as many teams as we can. We're going to do it again, the partial breakaway battle royale. It's going to be discussed. We might make some tweaks. We'll see. But just stay tuned for that, and we'll let you guys know what it's all about, how to access, and what the rules are in the coming weeks. Guys, I think after an hour and 38 minutes, we can start playing the
Sign
outro.
off. Yeah. I think.
I'm still waiting for a nice little joke.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we can't hear you, Vince.
Yeah, we don't hear you.
I'm gonna stop the music because when I stop the music, I could hear him. Do
Okay.
your joke and then I'll start the music again.
Okay, so what is bitter? And wait, what is it? What is
Did
bitter?
Tanya go to sleep?
Yeah, she was.
Oh, dirty.
Oh. What is bitter and walks on two legs?
Come on, how's that not Tanya?
It's Nick Sakaropoulos because he says I backstabbed him.
Is that the actual joke or?
I didn't have one, so I just made one up on the spot, you know?
That's fucking horrible.
We went an hour and 39 minutes without swearing.
Yeah, well,
And the bitter joke got to Nick.
Old man yelling at clouds, supposedly, right?
Guys, this will be the only time you hear from us this week. We will take the Fantasy Lens episode off for this week. There's some changes happening with the network. So we're going to pass and we're going to get back to you next week with the main episode published next Monday.
Well, after an hour and 40 minutes today, I think you got your PBB.
You got your dose of partial
got your
breakaway
dose of
podcast.
us.
Have an excellent week, everybody.
All right, peeps.
And
Have a
good
good
luck.
night.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.